Pete Davidson is known as the guy who was briefly engaged to Ariana Grande, and even he is still talking about his whirlwind romance. But although we know it's hard to imagine, he did have a life before the two of them met. Today we're going to be talking about the real Pete Davidson, not just the ex we've heard Grande sing about. There's much more to this man than just the guy who earned all those references and thank you next. We're talking about the surprising and often somber story of Pete Davidson. Before she got together with Pete Davidson, Ariana Grande infamously dated musician Mac Miller. The two seemed to be deeply in love with one another, so some fans were shocked when Grande ended the relationship. Miller had publicly struggled with addiction for quite some time, and in fact had often referenced it in his music. Grande said it put such a strain on their relationship that she had to end things for her own sanity. Sadly, as we all know, Miller ultimately lost his life due to his addiction, and Grande was left devastated. Although the two had split up, they still spoke highly of one another, and it was clear there was still a lot of love there. In the aftermath of her breakup with Miller, Ariana Grande started dating Pete Davidson, a move which surprised many fans. Not only had she seemingly moved on really quickly, but their relationship was progressing at breakneck speed. Fans wondered if Grande saw Davidson as a safe option after things with Miller had gotten so out of control. But Davidson has also had an exceptionally difficult life, starting out when he was only a child. Like many children, Davidson enjoyed a good relationship with his father, Scott Matthew Davidson. But when he was only 7 years old, his world was turned upside down forever. Scott Davidson was a firefighter who was called into duty in New York City on September 11, 2001, during the terrorist attacks. According to David's mother, Amy Davidson, growing up without a father was extremely difficult. She took her son to doctors who studied the stress responses of people who had lost loved ones in the terrorist attacks. Davidson was so distraught over losing his father that he would regularly pull his own hair out. He would frequently act out among his peers and was forced to change schools frequently. Originally, he thought that he just kept encountering cruel students until he realized his outlook was the problem. Although he attended therapy and tried his best to move on, Davidson still found himself struggling. He turned to marijuana to help him manage his symptoms and found it extremely helpful. In addition to his emotional pain, Davidson was often in physical pain as a result of Crohn's disease. He found that marijuana gave him relief from his gastrointestinal issues, and it emboldened him for what came next. When he was 16 years old, he decided to try his hand at stand-up comedy. His mother was apprehensive, but desperate to do anything to encourage her son's recovery. She drove him to a Staten Island bowling alley for his first stand-up experience, and he was immediately hooked. Davidson was still distraught over his father's passing, but he now found less destructive ways to cope. He had his father's badge number tattooed on his left arm and keeps a replica of his father's firefighter helmet. According to Davidson, doing stand-up comedy made him feel powerful and free, and he found he could express all of his feelings while up on stage. Davidson claims that he takes antidepressants and goes to therapy, but humor is his preferred coping mechanism. His dad's passing away was the worst thing that ever happened to him, which makes him feel as if anything is fair game as far as jokes go. But things were still far from perfect. Davidson began suffering from severe mental breakdowns and was prone to violent rages. Sometimes they were so severe he wouldn't remember anything that happened during them and would try to piece together what happened. At the time, Davidson was often turning to drugs and thought this was the cause of his issues. But after he got clean, the problems persisted and he was totally at a loss for how to move forward. Thankfully, Davidson knew he needed to get help and took a trip to his psychologist. He was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, which explained his depression, mood swings, and impulsive behavior. Davidson says getting diagnosed and learning to cope with the disorder was a nightmare, but at least he now knew what was wrong. When it comes to his love life, everyone wants to talk about his relationship with Ariana Grande, but it's not his only romantic relationship, nor the one that went pretty poorly. Davidson dated Cassie David, the daughter of writer Larry David, for about 2 years. She and Davidson seemingly had a happy relationship and were constantly sharing photos of them looking cute together on social media. But of course, things aren't always how it seems, and there was more going on in this relationship than many realized. While on Saturday Night Live, Davidson made a joke about his broken relationship with Ariana Grande, claiming he was 0 for 3 when it came to relationships. Besides Grande, he was also referring to Cassie during this joke, and reportedly she wasn't happy about it. Apparently, when they were together, Davidson had proposed to Cassie repeatedly, only to be turned down each time. When the relationship eventually ended, Cassie did her best to erase any mentions of her former relationship from her social media accounts. It was this breakup that led to Davidson connecting with Grande, who had recently undergone a breakup of her own from her ex-boyfriend, Mac Miller. According to Davidson, the timing was perfect and the two were in similar places in their lives. This brought them together quickly and made them fall in love incredibly fast. According to Davidson, his borderline personality disorder makes him live his life in extremes. This can make him hard to handle, but he believed he and Grande could get through it together. When Davidson first met Grande, he didn't think someone like her would ever be interested in him. When she expressed interest in dating him, he couldn't stop asking her if she was sure. He pointed out that there are many more attractive people than him, and surely Grande could have anyone she wanted. On the surface, this might sound sweet, but it's really telling about David's self-esteem and outlook on his life. Davidson is a talented guy with a successful career, and yet he still worries if girls actually like him or not. After Davidson and Grande got together in the aftermath of their breakups, they soon got engaged. According to Davidson, the proposal was simple and natural and happened when the two were laying in bed after watching a movie. He simply asked her to marry him, and he wasn't sure if she would say yes or not. When she agreed to marry him, Davidson was over the moon with joy. But as we all know, sadly, things didn't work out between the two of them. Going through 2 bad breakups and a broken engagement in a short period of time would be difficult for anyone to deal with. But Davidson was particularly distraught. But as he usually does, he has tried to use this sad period of his life as inspiration for his comedy. After joking about his broken engagement on Saturday Night Live, it became apparent that Grande didn't appreciate the laughter. She said it was sad that Davidson was trying to remain relevant by talking about their breakup. This was, of course, right before she released Thank You Next, which mentions Davidson and makes many references to their time together. But just because he makes jokes about it doesn't mean that Davidson isn't hurting following his breakup from Grande. Ariana Grande posted on social media making fun of Kanye West's ongoing feud with Drake, and apparently West wasn't laughing. He tweeted, "All of this foolishness is weighing on my mental health, so you know, Ariana Grande, I got love for you until you're ready to really make sure everyone's okay. Don't use me or this moment to promote a song." Apparently, this resonated deeply with Davidson, who felt it necessary to commend West for speaking his mind. He responded, "Brave Kanye West for standing up for yourself and speaking out against mental health. I can't explain how difficult and scary it is to be honest about stuff like this." And it seems as though Davidson is speaking from experience in this message. To her credit, Grande did apologize for upsetting people via Twitter. She said, "Man, I'm so sorry I told a dumb joke. I really didn't mean any harm. All I want is everyone to be healthy and happy. So desperately, please, my God." But apparently Davidson was still shaken by the incident. He posted a message which had many fans gravely concerned. On social media, Davidson wrote, "I really don't want to be on this earth anymore. I'm doing my best to stay here for you, but I actually don't know how much longer I can last. All I've ever tried to do is help people. Just remember I told you so." Obviously, this message was extremely disturbing for fans, and many began to worry about his safety. Even Grande spoke up to voice her concerns, tweeting, "I'm downstairs and I'm not going anywhere if you need anyone or anything. I know you have everyone you need, and that's not me, but I'm here too." Following this message, Davidson deleted his entire Instagram account, a move which upset Grande. She tried to see him, but apparently he sent her away and said he wanted to be alone. Even the police stopped by to do a wellness check to make sure Davidson was doing okay. Actor Michael Rapaport has posted some messages on social media mocking both Kanye West and Pete Davidson. He made fun of them for being upset over social media and even posted a video of himself doing impressions of the two and pretending to cry over Ariana Grande and Drake. Needless to say, this was considered to be in extremely poor taste, and even Rapaport realized he had gone too far. He posted an apology on Instagram claiming, "Didn't realize Pete Davidson posted an actual genuinely scary IG note. Had no clue. Was not informed of all of those details. Would never mock someone when they're truly down. Sincerely, I thought this was all the daily normal gossip of the day and was doing my daily take." It's clear that Pete Davidson is struggling, but has a lot of people supporting him right now. There have been reports that Davidson started casually dating again immediately following his breakup with Grande, but Davidson hasn't commented on this. Rushing into a new relationship hasn't worked out for him historically, and hopefully he takes his time now. Davidson needs to focus on himself and his mental health. Even his colleagues from SNL are worried, including his boss, Lorne Michaels, who pledged to support him. After his Instagram post, Davidson was conspicuously absent from the live sketches on the show, only appearing in order to introduce musical guest Miley Cyrus. Going through a breakup is hard enough, but Davidson had to do so in a very public way. Many Grande fans lashed out at Davidson on social media, which just added insult to injury. Davidson has been honest about his struggles, posting he claims he's always been open about his struggle with BPD and his mental health because he wants to address it publicly and hopefully help other people going through the same. Pete claimed that the haters wouldn't be able to bring him down and he would never take his own life. We truly hope Davidson was sincere in this claim and that he is able to get the help he needs during this difficult time. After hearing all of this, what do you think about Pete Davidson? Is he a more complex person than you imagined, or is he fated to forever be Ariana Grande's ex-fiancé? Let us know what you think in the comments section below, and then click on the subscribe button and ring in the gray bell for more great videos from TheTalko. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.